So welcome everyone to another edition of Compelling Conversations from Compel CEOs. My name is Steve Ramerini. I'm the founder and chief visionary officer of Compel. And today we have a great guest, really fantastic. With us today is Fig Annunziato. Fig has had a very colorful professional career. And actually, Fig and I met in 2002 when she was about 23 years old, had just received her graduate degree and was about to start her career at the GAO. Her mom was a member in one of my CEO boards and said, "Hey, can you spend 15 to 20 minutes with Fig and, give her some guidance and let me know what you think?" Well, 90 minutes later, I came out of that meeting and I said to Fig's mom, "There's your next company president." Little did I know that a year later, Fig would become the company president, and also her mom put her in one of my CEO boards. So we've known each other now for over 20 years.
That's right.
A lot has happened.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us, how would you describe your journey as an entrepreneur and a business owner?
I think there's so many words I would probably use to describe my journey. I would say it's been exciting and rewarding and really fulfilling. It's been scary and uncertain, and it's been bumpy at times. And I guess overall, I would say I really wouldn't trade it in for anything else. I think the last 20 years has been a remarkable journey, not in just professional growth, but in my own personal growth too. I think when you're an entrepreneur, those things really happen hand in hand. And so I have been really privileged to, take the ride and have had some really exceptional experiences along the way.
You make it sound like it's the best ride at the amusement park, which is great. So what's been the biggest challenge for you over the last 20 years or so?
I think the biggest challenge has always been staying patient. So when we think about being an entrepreneur or business owner, the ride really requires a tremendous amount of patience. I think in many instances, because we have so much control and influence over how our careers look and the path we're going to take, there's sometimes a miscalculation on how much patience is really required to get to the places we've never been. And so my biggest challenge, I would say overall, has been to stay patient and stay the course. I have always been really ambitious and wanted to go for gold, and the big prizes take a longer time to get there. And so staying patient, I think, has probably been my biggest challenge as an entrepreneur.
So that's an interesting word, staying patient, and an interesting concept, because just to give our audience a little bit more of context here, your mom appointed you president of the company in 2003. The company had less than $1 million in revenue and probably about 20, 25 employees.
I think that's probably right. Yeah.
And 11 years later, which for some people is an eternity, and for most entrepreneurs is maybe only 25% of their journey,
Mm-hmm.
you had built the company up to well over 8 figures
Mm-hmm.
in revenues, well over 75 employees, and decided there's a part of this business I don't like. And you split it in half and you sold off the part you didn't want very successfully, and then rebuilt it back up. So in 11 years, you accomplished what many entrepreneurs take 40 years to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how that relates to patience.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the bigger the goal, the more patience it requires. At the time we decided to sell part of our business, which is a really important insight I've always gotten in the many years I spent on Compel CEO boards and being part of the Compel community, was really two things. It was always be building your business like you're getting ready to sell it. And the other was timing is everything. And when the decision came in 2014 to sell part of our business, that was really a timing decision. It was a part of our business that was approaching a important inflection point in the industry and in the marketplace. And we knew it was the right time to make an exit on that part of our business, and we did. And luckily, part of that also offered us an opportunity to retain a very small part of what we had and continue to build that and grow it in a different way than we had previously done with the earlier part of our business. I think it's been an extraordinary practice in patience because, especially in the last few years, I think entrepreneurs and business owners would agree the amount of uncertainty and the amount of fear that entered into the space for us has presented, new challenges, new opportunities, and has really required an extraordinary amount of resilience and patience to stay the course and continue to look ahead and consider all the opportunities there are for us today.
So there is a lot of uncertainty. That's
Mm-hmm.
the number one word I hear most often from business owners. And there's always fear for the future, not knowing.
Right.
But let's take a different tact here.
Mm-hmm.
You've been, I would consider by any measure, very successful. So what are the two secret weapons you have that you'd attribute your success to?
Well, thank you for the compliment. I would say if I were to pick one or two secret weapons over my career, I think the first absolutely unequivocally would be ask lots of questions. And when you think you're done asking questions, ask more questions. Stay really curious. I had read something many years ago that said it takes 11 questions to get to the root of any topic, any discovery, any place you want to go to have total clarity. And that always stuck with me. I probably read that 10 or 15 years ago. And so I have made it a diligent practice to always ask questions, ask more questions. To do that, it really requires pushing your ego aside, staying really curious, knowing and believing you don't know everything. And there's always more to know and more to learn and more to discover. I would say largely a lot of my professional success has been built on the shoulders of the learning that I've done from my professional community, from being part of CEO advisory boards like Compel and other places I've put myself to be exposed to conversations, to topics, to other professionals who have really offered so much value and insight. And a lot of that discovery has come from, I believe, the depth and quality of questions I have always come to those places with. I think the second secret weapon is likely taking action immediately. So you learn something, take action, whether it's a small step or a massive swing in the direction that you want to go. I have always come away from any learning moment and taken immediate action. And small steps turn into bigger steps, turn into progress, turn into the real momentum we want to get to the places we want to go. So I think always take a step, always take some immediate action in any situation that you're in, and in any moment you can really grab and do something significant for yourself or for your business.
So I remember a story which
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to share, and I think it exemplifies asking questions and immediate action. Many years ago, we had a speaker,
Mm-hmm.
and the speaker said the role of the CEO is to always be involved in revenue generating activities. And you told me a story that you went back to your office and you go like, excuse me, to all your people, your head people, what are you doing? Is that a revenue generating activity?
Mm-hmm.
And after about 2 or 3 days, people started coming to you and going, excuse me, are you doing a revenue generating activity?
Uh-huh.
How did that come about? I mean,
Yeah, I think, when we run our businesses, this is the thing I think about being an entrepreneur and a business owner. It's a gift and a curse. And the gift is all the immense opportunity we have to do extraordinary things. The curse is the complacency that sometimes comes when things are going well, when things are moving along, when people are making money and doing good things and doing good for themselves. I think that's part of sometimes the curse of being a business owner and an entrepreneur. And what's always required is this relentless movement in the direction of growth. That's always been my philosophy. That's not all entrepreneur and business owners' philosophies. I've been around enough of them to know now that that's not everybody's goal, but that was always my goal. And I had always been thinking about, what are my key people doing and working on? And we spent a lot of years in our Compel groups talking about attracting and retaining key talent and what that required and what effort that looked like for us. And I always thought about it in terms of how do I maximize the value and benefit of those people on my team in a number of different ways. And so revenue generating activities has always been sort of the culture around how I've built my businesses and how we have lifted the growth that we have over the years, both in our previous business and at ClaimFox today.
So I know you have more than one interest other than ClaimFox. So tell us, what are you involved with today in terms of your businesses?
ClaimFox is where most of my effort and energy goes today. I'm also proudly a facilitator for Compel CEOs. I am facilitating a group and coaching and mentoring what I call emerging entrepreneurs today. So these are individuals who are either in position to take over family businesses or they are early stage entrepreneurs themselves, building their businesses and really flexing their leadership muscle. And our group is really comprised of like-minded entrepreneurs and business owners who are trying to go to very similar places. I also am co-founder of Two Step Reviews. So a partner and I, which was also somebody that I met in my community through Compel, built a application that helps automate how businesses request and post Google reviews for their businesses. So we know today that more than 95% of customers are relying on online reviews to make buying decisions. And so our goal is to support business owners and entrepreneurs in doing just that, driving more 5-star reviews to their Google My Business pages online so future customers can find them and make those buying decisions and position our clients to be the obvious choice online. Some of my non-professional interests, many of them which came out of COVID, of course, because it was the first time in my career I had a little time to slow down and really explore other interests and other hobbies that I might want to develop. I picked up playing tennis. I had never done that before. And I started little DJ side hustle. So I've been doing some DJing as well. That's been fun and cool and interesting and other ways to be more creative and get to this part of my life. It didn't occur to me really until COVID that I had been doing this for almost 20 years. And so it was time to feel like I was exploring other things other than the grind of being an entrepreneur. So that's been a really cool, fun consequence of what COVID provisioned for me at this stage of my life.
I'll have to keep that in mind because in no small part on your own, Compel now has a compelling corporate events division, which is headed by my oldest daughter, Kristen, who you're very good friends with.
That's right.
And it's kind of a nice segue into what I call the next gen, and you refer to as emerging entrepreneurs, because about 8 years ago, my youngest daughter, Jamie, you offered to take her into that group and help her with her career. And about a year or two later, you said, we got to have a conversation. And the gist of that conversation started out with, I think you need to bring Jamie in and change positions with a long-term employee. And I don't know what you said after that, but 20 minutes later, you asked me, what do you think? And I said, I got to find a way to terminate this long-term valued employee in the hopes that we'll go in a different direction. And we did. And because of that, we've been able to look to expand outside of our normal market and our normal footprint.
Yep.
So your efforts, and thank you for shepherding that group
You're
for me,
welcome.
and when you took it over, there were 5 members. I think there are 18 today. So thank you for that. It's had a tremendous impact on you, the members of that group, and especially Compel. So let me ask you a different question now.
Mm-hmm.
You've obviously been successful in everything you've touched along the way. What would you do differently if you had to start all over, or if you could start all over today?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the things that I would have probably done differently earlier in my career is that I would have probably gotten more clear and specific about the target on the wall. So, for instance, the early part of my career, we'd sit around the table as this very small team, and we'd say things like, "Next year we really need to grow." And so we'd all come away from that conversation, and the assignment was we should grow. Now, there's no clarity on that. There's nothing measurable on that. There's no milestones built into that. There's no way to have a shared vision around that. Are we progressing in the same direction towards a goal? And over the years, I have really gotten to the idea that unless there's a clear, specific, measurable target on the wall, we are all just working towards a theory or an idea. And had I had that earlier on, I think I could have really done two things. I think I could have probably accelerated the growth in my businesses. And I think I probably could have done a more intentional job of building teams towards towards those goals. In my group today, in my next generation group today at Compel CEOs, this is a big point that I emphasize with them. I challenge them to not stay vague. I challenge them to not stay in their assumptions. I'm always pushing them to get more clear, more specific, paint a target on the wall, rally your teams towards that. Discover opportunities to measure, determine when it's time to pivot, help people stay accountable towards that, rally your team towards a really clear, specific vision. For many years in my earlier career, we would say things like, let's improve culture, or let's grow the business, or let's add new customers, or let's explore new markets. And as you can imagine, none of those things really happened in short order because we didn't have anything clear or specific around what it was that we were really aspiring to. So I think if I were to go back, I would have started with that practice and not started that practice 10 years ago. I think I would have probably started that practice much sooner, because I have seen in the last 10 years the extraordinary value that has provided for my businesses in really being diligent about that practice.
So for me, the takeaway so far,
Mm-hmm.
and the message for all business owners, whether you're generational, entrepreneurial,
Or brand new.
exactly, from day one to, you're getting close to the sale transition point, is build it to sell it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Be aware of timing,
Always.
clear, specific, and measured targets on the wall. Because otherwise, as the old saying goes, if you don't know where you're going, you'll wind up someplace else.
That's right.
You know?
Every single time. I
Yeah.
think that's exactly right. Every single time.
What do you think will be the next biggest impact on business over the next 3 to 5 years?
That's a great question. I think this topic came in hot and fast, and I think it has gotten a lot of velocity. And I'm clear about the impact of my own business, and we are having very extensive conversations in my next generation group. And I think that's AI. I think everybody is talking about it. I think it is happening at a speed we've never seen before. I think the adoption is happening faster than we thought it could. I think we're seeing the impacts already in so many areas of business. We've already started adopting it at ClaimFox, and some of the processes that we're already utilizing. I think there's this big sort of opportunity with AI, and I think there's going to be a lot of second order consequences that entrepreneurs really need to be prepared for. I think this idea of the middle part of our businesses in some way, I think the consequence will be there where there are repetitive processes, workflow opportunities for automation. I mean, we've seen this in so many ways, from our client relations department to where we do fulfillment in processing transactions to the way we're writing emails or running marketing campaigns, or there's so many places AI has an opportunity. And I think there's a real, it's coming in fast. And I think that's what the next revolution in business is going to be about and be around. I mean, I remember when I started my career, we had just gotten internet access in our headquarters building. I mean, nobody was using smartphones. Blackberries were relatively new in around 2000, 99, 2000. Blackberries were new. People were just getting emails on their phones in 2002, 2003, maybe. That was pretty new at the time. And this is 20 years later, and we see what's happened with smartphones and how they're being used and what they're doing. I think AI has significantly compressed that timeline, and the impact is going to be even greater than what we've seen so far. So I think that it's already started, and it's really the velocity on it is really, really, really fast.
Absolutely. Just a side note,
Mm-hmm.
I think we should stop calling them smartphones and start calling them smart cameras, because does anybody really use it as a phone?
That's right.
You know, between text messages, and it is our form of communication.
That's right.
But not to get
Yeah,
off
device.
Right, device. Not to get off kilter here. We have tried since March to partner with someone on an AI course.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the developments day in and day out, it's now in its third iteration. It's almost as if you don't have it today, it's going to be different tomorrow. And it's just amazing. Our groups now, every meeting has a segment on AI.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, we had a 45-minute structured segment, which went 2 hours
Mm-hmm.
because of everything that we were covering and all the potential uses. So
We had a speaker who came in and spoke to my group last month about AI, and he gave a presentation, and he said, I did this presentation last week, and I can't be certain that everything that I'm presenting to you today is still accurate. And he sort of underscored the velocity of what AI, how it's coming and what it's doing, because he's dedicated to developing content on this. And he's even suggesting that on a week-to-week basis, the content is changing, or something new is coming in, or something about it is different or evolving.
Absolutely. I mean, we've been working with him.
Mm-hmm.
In September, we have a speaker coming in, and I'm sure he's going to talk a little bit about this, even though it's an economic presentation. He wrote a book called The AI Whisperer
Mm-hmm.
recently. And the quote from the book is this: "You're not going to be replaced or put out of business by AI. You're going to be replaced or put out of business by the person who masters the use of AI."
Yep.
And it sounds like you're trying to do that in your business.
Absolutely. And I'm emphasizing this to all of my members too. In my next generation group, it's really challenge yourselves, and we workshop this in our group meetings. Really challenge yourself to think about where are places in your business today that AI could really provide a lift with a low effort, and where are the places in your business today that you're challenged, that you can offer this resource to give yourself, you know, a new opportunity or a new way at coming at that business process or that workflow or that role or position in your business. There's so many ways to think about it. I think if I were to look ahead and say what the biggest impact is, I think it's unequivocally AI.
Right. It's interesting because I think what you just pointed us towards was the theory of always think out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly AI is a disruption to force people to have to think out of the box.
Absolutely.
So that's a good thing. Will it be a bad thing, and will it become Skyfall that we're being warned about?
Yeah.
Hopefully not. Any other things that you think will impact business going forward?
I think there is, you know, business is a sport, right? And so it's always changing, and we're always required to, you know, level up, to innovate. I think I did this practice with my group, and the question I asked them was, if you were out of the business you're in today and you had to be in a different business and you had the same resources at your disposal and you had the same expertise, what business would you be in? And I think that was a really unique and interesting way to challenge their thinking about what business they would be in if they weren't in the business that they're in today. Because there is a possibility that at any turn, we have our resources and we have our expertise, and the business could be different or look different or require something different. And so the exercise was really to stretch their thinking around, as a sport, what would I have to work differently? What would I have to flex differently? What would I have to train differently if I had to prepare myself to be out of this business and be in new business? And I had the expertise I have, because that won't change. And I have the resources that I have, my infrastructure, my team, my customers, maybe in some way. And that exercise, I do that probably every 6 to 8 months with them, because things are changing so quickly. And because the horizon feels differently pre-COVID, post-COVID, now with AI here, I think the best preparation for what's ahead and for what we don't know is really to continue to train and prepare like you're in a sport and you're going to get on the field and you don't know what to expect, but you can be prepared in any way that you can to respond to whatever it is.
I don't know if you've done that purposefully, intentionally, or it was intuitively, but by making the analogy that business is like sport, you're creating it in a game.
Mm-hmm.
You're gamifying, which is the business experience, which is very much in tune with millennials
Mm-hmm.
and what they desire.
Mm-hmm.
So congratulations on that. Any parting thoughts for us?
If people are taking the swing at being an entrepreneur or being a business owner today, it's 1% of 1% of the population, right? And so it is not for the weary, and it is not for the faintest of hearts. And I think there is always something to be proud of, right? And I know that we talk about we have these conversations around being business owners and entrepreneurs and the unique challenges and the opportunities that exist for them. And it is a big leap of faith, and that's why I think 1% of 1% of the population has it to take the ride. And I have really been so grateful for my experience and my journey for the last 20 years, and I hope that the next 20 will be very much the same. And I have really been privileged to be part of this community as well, and built some really remarkable relationships and friendships along the way that have helped to propel my success. And I encourage everybody to find your community and really, really build on that.
Fig, thank you so much for being
You're
with
welcome.
us
Thank
today.
you for having me.
I feel like I just got another course completion in graduate business school here today. So it's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
We look forward to the next compelling conversations.
Great. Thank you.
Have a great day, folks.